If you skip to the end, please leave a comment and a like. Fair exchange in my opinion, man. MultiVersus mid-season patch tier list. Let's get right into it. Starting off with Arya Stark, pretty much nothing changed about her. I mean, I think they made some bug fixes in her kit. All in all, she's still going to be extremely strong thanks to her ridiculous combo game and her broken down tilt. She's definitely A tier. Batman got nerfed a little bit when he did not need it, but all of his nerfs were actually pretty insignificant. His dash attack is now delayed by 8 frames on whiff, which that was definitely one of his greatest moves. However, I don't think that it impacted this character too much to the point where it's going to make him B tier or lower. Bugs Bunny actually got nerfed pretty significantly, from them taking away his ridiculous neutral air strings to them even messing with the safe a little bit. I think that only time will tell where this character actually lies, but as of right now, I'm going to go ahead and pre-fire the fact that he is in B tier. I do not think that this character is going to be that good anymore. The knockback on Finn's neutral attack as well as Finn's up air were buffed, and I think that this could go one of two ways. One, they messed up his up air kill confirms, which I don't think is going to happen, seeing how his side special is going to teleport him a pretty significant distance, so I don't think that they messed up his 0 to deaths. And 2, he finally has some kill moves. So I'm going to go with the second option, seeing how it's pretty unrealistic that they messed up his touch of deaths. I think that he is going to be high A tier. I thought that Garnet was mid tier before this patch, but they did actually buff her. They buffed some of her aerial moves. However, I do not think that the buffs are significant enough to put her in A tier. I still think that she is going to reside in mid tier, whether that be high mid tier or just mid tier. Either way, I'm going to put her in mid tier for now. We'll see as time goes on. Harley Quinn was already a pretty strong character, but now they are putting more emphasis on her strings, and we remember back in the beta what happens when Harley Quinn has full access to actual combos. She ends up in easy A tier. She might even be S tier. We're gonna have to see about that, but maybe this character is just as ridiculous as she once was, as she now has the combination of moves like her up special, her up air, you know, her sliding move into up tilt, and now potentially ridiculous combos to suit those moves. Jake is finally getting the love that he deserves in this update, and I'm so glad that's the case because this is such a fun character to play. However, he was just so bad before. Now they buffed every single one of his air attacks, not his air special moves, but you know, his air up attack, his down air, his side air, those moves, man. And now that those moves are a little bit viable, this character will also be, because his best moves are his air attacks, his down air and his side air specifically. All in all, I think that this character is going to end up being A tier because now he's actually got some tools, man. Now is the time to mention that this is a 1v1 tier list, because if I don't mention that, it's definitely gonna ruffle some feathers putting Reindog in B tier. If you don't know what they did to this guy, they buffed his neutral attack, the one where he shoots the little crystal. I think that they upped the damage by about 2, and then they upped the knockback scaling by about 50, which honestly should not make too much of a difference in the grand scheme of things. The last buff that they did was his up special, which is pretty much unusable in 1v1s. I already thought that this was a decent character. Let me explain that a little bit, because I know a lot of people think that this character sucks. He has great projectiles. His projectiles can control the stage. His up special is absolutely lethal, and really the only flaw that this character has is that he cannot kill very well. But outside of that, he's a pretty decent character, and I think B tier is a good spot for him. Not above Bugs Bunny though. Let's put him below Bugs. Shaggy is a character that a lot of people have been complaining about for a long time, and MultiVersus finally listened to the criticism and they gave this guy a well-deserved nerf. However, they did not nerf the right things when it comes to Shaggy. Yes, they did nerf the Hangry Man perk, which was extremely good. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it was the perk that allows him to charge his rage while holding a sandwich, and he could do it in about 2 seconds. It was way too fast. They nerfed that, and then they nerfed his up special in the sky. That wasn't really a move that was used too much by Shaggy mains. If anything, people were complaining about the up special because it comes out of his jab string, which was not addressed in this patch. So he is still going to be able to do a powered up forward tilt up special, which is probably going to kill at about 60 health. His side special was not touched at all. The final thing that was touched on this character was the up tilt on the ground. They reduced the hit stun on that move a little bit, but that wasn't even his best variation of up tilt. His up tilt in the air was. So overall, I think Shaggy is still going to be an S tier character. He still has the things that makes him broken, which is being way too well-rounded, having no weaknesses, and all of his moves are pretty much just great. We should now now see a lot less spamming of the Steven Universe neutral air. I was so sick of seeing that move, man. It was nerfed a little bit, so now if you whiff, there is going to be a longer window to get punished, alongside of a lot of other moves that were nerfed by this character. Just because of his actual toolkit, just because he can use the shields, he can use the melon, he's never really going to be a low tier. He still has his up air. It was not touched at all, and that was easily his best move. I mean, it kills at about 60 health. Overall, I think that this character is still going to end up being A tier. And what I'm going to do here quickly, because I'm realizing that A tier is the common trend, is when you're talking the tier list like this, B tier is obviously average. So what we have to do, because there's some inflation going on, is move the A tier characters down to B tier. This game is becoming more balanced, and you know, take this as a sign of my respect, MultiVersus. The A tiers are now B tiers. Okay, but now that I think about it, we definitely have to move Arya over to A tier because she is far better than the rest of these characters are going to be. Superman got nerfed. Superman was already, you know, really teetering on the edge of high tier. Like, I was pretty confident Superman was a B tier character, but I put him in A tier because I'm annoyed by this guy. I don't like his armor. I don't like nothing about this guy. However, now he is a clear-cut B tier character. This nerf made him balanced, I guess. I mean, he might just be a low-end B tier character now. I guess we'll see. If I'm feeling not confident about any of these characters in B tier, I think that it's definitely going to be Steven Universe. I think that Steven Universe is going to turn out to be far better than Superman. We'll see over time, but I just can't see a world where this guy has his shields, he has his melon, he has his up air, and he isn't A tier. I guess we'll see, man. I can't play the game right now. Y'all got to give me some leniency, but just based off the patch notes, I'm not feeling too confident about this guy in B tier, but I don't feel comfortable putting him in A tier, seeing how his delay frames have been increased by so much on so many moves. It's definitely going to make a difference on his kit. Tom and Jerry was buffed a little bit. He can now move a little bit faster than everyone else because his jumps were made faster. This character I already thought was a little slept on. People have been saying this character is bad ever since his nerf 2 patches ago, but really all they did was mess with his forward tilt. I think at the end of the day, Tom and Jerry is actually going to be an A tier character, especially when they're nerfing the rest of the cast and making them all balanced. Tom and Jerry is going to turn out to be a diamond in the rough sleeper pick. You guys will see, man. Y'all are going to be complaining about Tom and Jerry very soon. They did not want to nerf Wonder Woman. They made that very clear within these patch notes. They might have to respond to criticism and nerf this character because people are telling them to nerf her. However, she is still very, very, very strong. I mean, just read these notes right here. Her air side attack, easily one of her best moves. Damage reduced to 9 from 11. Knockback scaling reduced to 19 from 20.5. Knockback increased to 1350 from 1250. Base knockback was increased to account for the lower knockback from the reduced damage. Okay, so they didn't change the move. Like, they lowered the damage and then they boosted the knockback so that this move still kills at 70. And it still has a ridiculous hitbox. I mean, the main moves that they nerfed were moves like her down air and her up air and her side special. Really, some of her worst moves, man. They didn't touch some of her most broken moves. So I still think that she is going to be pretty broken. I guess we'll see. Maybe she's not that strong once again, but I think that this character is going to be way too strong. Velma got completely reworked, and I can look over at these patch notes and pretend I know what I'm talking about with this character. I can read out how they changed the knockback and the movement speed and all these moves, but at the end of the day, when we're talking completely reworking a character, there is absolutely no way for me to know how this character is truly going to play. However, we know that the developer's goal was to make this character a balanced one, so that is exactly where I'm going to put her. In good faith that the developers did achieve their goal and make this character balanced, we are going to put her in B tier, and I guess once again, time will tell. Taz got some nerfs and buffs, but at the end of the day, after reading the patch notes for this character, I think that all in all, he got away with a robbery, man. This is going to be an A tier character. The only reason he's not S tier is because they did finally fix the bite chain that was super broken and literally unbreakable. Now he's just an extremely strong character. I mean, to put it in perspective how much this character got buffed, his side air now has a 20% bigger hitbox. That is absolutely insane. If you buffed any hitbox in this game by 20%, it would make a huge difference. This character is going to be extremely strong. He was strong already, now he got buffed. It's going to be ridiculous. Iron Giant got nerfed. He can now no longer do Touch of Deaths as easily as he was able to before. However, when you're dealing with a character of this size, it is impossible to make him not broken. I still think that he is going to end up being top 5 in the game. I mean, how many times have they promised that they were fixing this character and making this character balanced, but he just turns out to be broken over and over again? The only way to truly fix Iron Giant is to downscale him. They need to make him a little smaller. They are not doing that, and as a result, this character is broken over and over again, no matter how many times they nerf him, man. And I think it's going to be the exact same situation here. I think he's going to be extremely broken still. Now, LeBron is a character that I believe to be high B tier before this patch. I said that he needed a buff. I've been saying that he needed a buff for a little minute now. But when I said that he needed a buff, I meant like a small little buff. They completely reworked this character. They made him so much better than he was before. They buffed pretty much every single one of his moves. And as a result, I think that he is probably going to be top 5 in the game, if not the best character in the entire game. I mean, what they did is pretty much just take a character like Batman and then just buff every single one of his moves. I think they're kind of out of touch on this one. They probably thought that LeBron was bottom 5 in the game when really that was not the case. He was definitely like top 15 or so. And now he is going to be a problem, man. This guy is going to be completely broken. My personal main, Morty, they obviously nerfed this guy's mud wall because people were complaining about it because they suck. And at the end of the day, they did buff his jab string. I guess we'll see if forward tilt into whip is true. This is going to be a B tier character. If not, he'll probably be a little bit lower. However, now when you hit his grenades with the mud wall, it splits them in both directions. I actually do think that is going to be a buff, because if you catch your opponent jumping while you were trying to hit them with the mud wall, you know, as in you can fake them out like you're gonna hit them with the mud wall, and if they jump, the grenade is going to split in both directions, potentially catch them, potentially you ignite the grenades, get an early elimination. I guess we'll see. This guy could easily be C tier depending on if his forward tilt does connect. I'm still going to be playing Morty. I'm probably going to be playing a little bit more Jake after this update. But yeah, man, we'll see what happens with Morty. I don't think he's going to be that horrible though. Rick got nerfed. They nerfed his best move. I don't know why. It wasn't really a significant nerf. It didn't really make a difference, but this guy already sucked and now they just made him a little bit worse, man. I really do not think that it impacted where he stands though. He's still going to be B tier. We're going to move Harley up to A tier. I don't feel comfortable putting her with these characters. Harley is going to be a problem. Let's be real, man. But yeah, Rick is a good clean B tier for me. Gizmo is going to be A tier. They nerfed Gizmo's car. I could almost put Gizmo in S tier. They nerfed his car. If they nerfed every single one of Gizmo's moves but didn't touch his arrows, he would still be A tier or B tier, man. The arrows are just so unbelievably strong, and this character is going to be very good despite anything, as long as they leave her arrows as they are. Stripe was hardly changed. He can just no longer hold on to the dynamite forever. He has 5 seconds before it automatically explodes. I can't remember the last time I've seen a Stripe holding the dynamite for over 5 seconds. This isn't going to change much. As long as Black Adam is going to be able to indefinitely fly with his up special twice per jump, he is going to be A tier, man. They didn't touch his forward air, which was absolutely broken. They touched his up tilt on the ground. His thunder is now a projectile, which is definitely a much needed change. He is going to be a little bit worse. I had him in S tier in the last update. Now, however, I think that he's going to be A tier. I think that's going to be a good spot for him. And let me just preface, the gap between A tier and B tier in my eyes is not the biggest, man. I think this game is going in a great direction right now, and they are actually getting a little bit more balanced. Marvin was not changed outside of bug fixes. He's definitely still B tier. This is probably one of the most balanced characters in the game, despite the fact that he literally gets a free win on the Mojo Jojo map. But yeah, they didn't touch this guy because they're trying to make every character Marvin level. It's a good decision. I don't think they should touch him. They did a good job. Banana Guard was nerfed. I already thought that Banana Guard was B tier. He's extremely slow and predictable, and them nerfing him really just made him even worse, man. I mean, Banana Guard is still going to be bad. Jason's buff is extremely scary, man. I mean, what we're dealing with here is a character that could potentially be very fast and kill very early. I cannot put him any lower than B tier. I honestly would not be surprised at all if Jason turns out to be better than every single character in this tier, man. If he's as fast as this frame data is trying to make him look right now, then he is going to be zooming all over the place, doing 80 damage moves and killing at 70. Like, this guy is going to be nuts. We'll see. As of right now, I'm thinking B tier. Maybe the changes aren't actually that significant. And then finally, Joker. Unlike Wonder Woman, they actually nerfed the right things on this guy. He's still going to be a strong character. That's probably because he's new. They want to make him nice. However, they did nerf his side tilt on the ground. They nerfed his up air, which were two of his best moves that definitely needed some attention. And now he's not going to be as good as he once was. This is my finished tier list. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments, and subscribe if you're new. See y'all later, man.